One of the problems we have for the econometrics exercise is getting continuous data series for countries which have adopted the euro. This has been particularly the case when we've used the international financial statistics, which have a break in 1999 when we switched to the euro data. However, if we go to the OECD database, then we can find continuous series. For example, suppose we want to find a series for French consumption. If we go to the OECD database, then we have this series here, which is private final consumption expenditure at constant prices. However, there are a number of problems with this series, and the first and most obvious one is that it's expressed very inconveniently in extremely large numbers. It would be much easier and much more convenient if we were to write it in billions of national currency. So what I'm going to do first of all is to divide each element in this series by 10 to the power 9, and that will give me the series in billions rather than a straightforward number. That's going to be much easier to deal with. The second problem we face is that we're not quite sure what the series is being measured in. If we look at the definition, then we see that there's no mention of what currency this series is measured in, and secondly, we don't know what base year is being used to calculate the constant price series. So to deal with that, I've downloaded data from the IFS database for consumption expenditure at current prices, and I've got two series here. One is pre-euro, so this goes up to 1998, and the other is post-euro, so this is after 1998. What we need to do is to scan down these series to see where they match with the series that we've just calculated. And if we do that, we find that the closest match is for 2005, where the series we calculated was 977 billion.686, and the IFS data gives us 976 billion.328. Now that's very, very close. It's less than a 1% difference between these two series. So what that's telling us is that the series that we've calculated is probably on a euro basis, so it's been estimated in euros, and it's using 2005 as the base year. Finally, we'll check if our results look reasonable by plotting the data and calculating the average growth rate. So to plot the series, we highlight the dates and the series itself, and then put in a scatter graph. So we go scatter, and we get quite a reasonable looking series for real consumption expenditures. Finally, we calculate the average growth rate for the period. So calculating the individual growth rates, we have the following. We copy this down and then calculate the average for the period. And that gives us an average growth rate of just over 3% for the period, which looks again quite reasonable for a growth rate for real consumption expenditures.